Good afternoon, intuitives. I have a more light-hearted video today, and it's based on an article that I read online a few days ago. And it's about things that, INFJs like, things that make us smile, and things that can cheer us up when we're in one of our darker moods, which we're very prone to, especially if we're in an NITI loop. So before I get into this one, I want to thank everybody who has clicked the link and helped me raise money for SameU, and I'm going to kindly ask all of you that haven't to please, click the link, donate donate 5 or whatever your currency is. Again, it's for people recovering from brain injury and the stigma they face, having suffered that. I can't even imagine what that's like to have to learn how to talk again, or, to have that kind of stigma of trying to go through life recovering from a major, probable near fatal injury and not being able to speak or remember things. That sounds terrifying to me. The closest I've ever come was when I was shot in 2013. I was a 26-year-old guy who had to walk with a cane for a lot of months, and I didn't like the way people looked at me with that. And I heard Dr. House jokes galore because, I was pretty misanthropic at the time, as one would be when they nearly die and, they were about to once again test for their dream job, of my case being a firefighter, and that had a job that had finally opened up for the first time since the 2008 crash, and knowing that I couldn't, there was no way I could do that because I couldn't walk without a cane and I was in constant pain, and that'll make you grumpy too. So, SameU does work to get those the after surgery recovery care that one would need after suffering a brain injury. If you're not familiar with the charity, it was started by actor Emilia Clarke, who suffered 2 brain aneurysms during during the Game of Thrones era, and had to, recover from that and somehow maintain her career at the same time, which I have no idea how she did it, and no one suspected anything, so she's just a total badass in all ways. So please, brain injury affects nearly a third of people. If you haven't suffered from one, you probably know someone who did. If I'm being honest, I'm lucky that I didn't have any lasting brain injuries, because I did have a couple major concussions in my youth from ice hockey. So luckily for me, a little vertigo and a little balance issues for a month or two, and I was back to normal. But that's not the case for everybody. So if you know someone who has suffered from major concussions, brain aneurysms, strokes, or any other brain injury, please consider donating to a charity that helps particularly young people dealing with those issues in both the United Kingdom and the United States, and possibly Ireland as well. I'm honestly not sure. Link will be below. That's why I'm doing 33 videos the month of July, which is 3 times what I would normally do, to try to raise a little money for that charity. As I've mentioned in my video, and you can listen to my video on why I'm doing this challenge from SameU to get more detail. But, my maternal grandmother, who was my favorite relative of all time, my first and most important mentor, and the only family member who really understood me, um, she suffered multiple strokes and was unable to recover from them and had to go in a nursing home. And I'm getting sad just thinking about that, and that was in 2002. So, that, and a close friend of mine who was finally getting the fair shot in life that he was denied his whole life. He suffered a major brain aneurysm as a result of brain cancer. So please, to help people like that and anyone you know in your life, and to support a worthy cause and a noble charity that was started by an actor with immense bravery and integrity, whom I respect, click the link below. So now we'll get into my topic of this video. So Things that make INFJs happy, things we love, things that can cheer us up when we're down. Well, some are pretty obvious. So one is a good book. INFJs, we love to learn things. We love to know about things. We love to know what we're talking about and be able to back what we're saying up. So any, book or article like that in an interest that we have, like, if there's a, a an article about something from archaeology or history, particularly Egyptology or medieval Britain, I'm going to be all over that because I want to learn more about it, and politics as well. Learning new words, another one. We like to be well spoken and have an immense vocabulary, so we like to expand that vocabulary. And I'll do a separate video on escapism for INFJs, but one of my favorite escapisms back in the day when I played video games during the PlayStation 2 era, my favorite series was Legacy of Kain. And that immensely expanded my vocabulary, including one of my favorite words, machination. All right, animals. Yeah, we're very empathetic people, and animals and their unconditional love, because we have such a hard time finding it with other humans, because a lot of people take advantage of us. It goes for you too, ENFJs. This one definitely goes for you. So dogs, especially, but I'll leave scraps from when I make a salad out in the yard for the rabbits. There's rabbits galore in the yard, and they're so cute and fuzzy, and they eat the clover. But I nursed a baby one back to health a couple years ago. But dogs especially, INFJs seem to have a way with dogs. I've had a way with dogs my whole life. Even some friends and relatives who had female dogs who didn't like any males other than the owner. They took right to me. So animals, and the only thing that I found, I don't know if it's for all INFJs, but certainly for me, the only thing that loves me more than dogs is babies. Babies are the most awesome thing, and they're the best way to cheer you up. No matter how down you are, if you can hold an 8-month baby and it's happy and making its noises and touching your face, you can't help but feel happy. So I've had a way with babies since I was a little kid. Babies have always been drawn to me. Strangers, when I'm standing on a queue, the baby will reach out. Or, I've had 1-year-olds toddle up to me and go up. And all my friends, little babies, all love me. And it works because usually, some mothers are resistant to who they let watch their kid. And, the friend that not only the baby's taken to, but also a seasoned EMT, that's usually a good option. So, music. I did a separate video, about the importance of music for INFJs, how that helps us process different thoughts, how different types of music help us in different moods and can help us with our intuition, put the pieces together and try to make sense of what we're trying to make sense to, and we'll find, metaphors and things like that within it that'll be like, oh, I see that now, and this makes sense, and this, you'll compare a lyric to what's going on in your life, and all of a sudden something will make sense like that. Yeah, I do it all the time. Been doing it since way before I knew what any of this INFJ stuff was. Poetry. That's blatantly obvious for me, considering I have no artistic abilities as far as painting and drawing. My way of self-expressing my feelings without talking about it, because we're not the best at putting things into words, especially when we're younger, was poetry, which I've been writing on and off since middle school, so since late 90s, and I've shared some with you, and I write a poem every now and then from when something's in my head and I have time and means to write it down. Art. Though I can't create it, I love it. Art history classes were fun, but because I couldn't take actual art classes to fill my credit needs because I cannot create it. But art, we love to see the deeper meaning of things, how people express certain emotions. Finding the meaning of abstract art is something INFJs are better at than most people. And I like the camaraderie amongst the art community because I usually find more like-minded people to myself. I mean, I'm more of a museum guy, and a theater guy, but those three communities, there's a lot of overlap in them. People, that's a tough one. There's an asterisk. People people that understand us, people that are similar to us, people that are trying to make the world a better place. Definitely, because we can't do it alone, INFJs. You know, I know we like to be lone wolves, and we're good lieutenants, but we're not the best leaders. That's more the ENFJ's role. Like I've joked before, I wouldn't be a great king, but I would be a great prince consort to an ENFJ queen. Laughing, yeah, laughing is immensely important with both INFJs and ENFJs. If you're in a relationship with somebody who's one of those two personality types, and the person doesn't get your sense of humor, and you can't laugh together, it's not going to work. And as I'm finding out recently, laughing is helping me process my PTSD. Like, I'm known as like the clown at work, and I'm usually the only male there because there's only one other male. So I make all my female staff members laugh and help them process things. And that's why the other male, who's a Gen Xer, he's a manager, nicknamed me Hawkeye from MASH. I'm somewhat familiar with it, and it's basically I use dark sarcastic humor to hide the fact that I'm barely holding it together after everything that happened in the Arlington County Fire Department. So, but my jokes and stuff are appreciated, and it helps other people through stuff, and it passes the time, so it works. I'll be Hawkeye for a while. Philosophy. I've loved philosophy most of my life too, especially classical Greek and Roman philosophy, because again, we love that deeper meaning. We love to find the deeper meaning behind stuff. So stuff like Plato, Socrates, Aristotle. I've been all over that. Even stuff from the, I want to say Reformation, but that might not be 100% right. The Enlightenment, like Locke and Voltaire, things like that. I loved all that stuff in high school because we love to see the deep thinking of people who challenge the status quo, and that's what a lot of philosophers do. They're idealists like us. They want to see the world become a better place, not just, oh, it is what it is, not small tweaks around the corner. I mean, INFJs ourselves are known as the philosopher. If you read MBTI literature, the INFJ, is expression creatively is as the philosopher. The ENFJ, it's the actor. So, science, been in the science most of my life. I went through a big kick where I was like heavily into NASA and space. I got my dad to take me to Kennedy Space Center because I was really into watching documentaries galore on the Apollo missions, which was cool. That was a cool fifth grade year because we had a special treat too because my teacher, although she was mean as fuck, her father was a UDT guy, which was the precursor to the Navy SEALs. And the UDT teams, underwater demolition teams, if you've watched footage of the Apollo landings, the guys that go out in the boat and put like those three big balls around the capsule, yeah, that's the UDT guys. And UDTs and SEALs are arguably the most badass men in the world. And you want to know more about that, I suggest listening to former Buds 31 channel, as I'm subscribed to, and that is the channel of retired Navy SEAL Senior Chief Don Shipley, who exposes people who pretend to be Navy SEALs, but he's also funny as hell and a good guy, and I love the chemistry him and his wife Diane have. So if you're looking for, if you're interested in anything military, particularly the Navy and Navy SEALs, Don Shipley's the guy to listen to, in my opinion. So, like I said, science, chemistry, that kind of stuff. For me, I have a degree in plant biology. I'm a witch, so I'm into all herbal concoctions and herbal medicines and all that. And it's fun going out in the woods and knowing what everything is and knowing what I can use certain things for and making a little extra money on digging ginseng when it's in season. Happy people. People that are naturally happy and upbeat and can help pull us out of our darker moods. The best example of this for me personally is ENFJs. They're always happy usually, and they understand us. They're awesome. And kindness and compassion. We're empaths as INFJs. Again, this falls under, once again, I love ENFJs. They're kind and have compassion and understand us. They're awesome. Underdogs and rebels. So as INFJs, we're usually black sheep, and the odds are stacked against us because we challenge the status quo and won't go along with the program. So people think we won't achieve what we want to achieve. I was an underdog most of my life. when I first tested the first time when I got hired as a firefighter in 2006, I was told I'd never make it because I was a 19-year-old kid, not from that area, and that, those jobs were already promised to people before they test, and that's just how, it's supposed to be because good old boys. But I got hired anyway. They cheated me out of it, but I got hired. I made it through the damn process, and nobody thought I would because, people from Chester County don't move out of state to become firefighters. Firefighters here are volunteer. You can volunteer and be a landscaper because that's just what you do here. It's just the way it's supposed to be. Boomer logic. Yeah. So, unsung heroes. Yeah, we're big into that. Here's to You. It's a song about, unsung heroes in Italy. If you played Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes, you know what it is. Um, yeah, we love unsung heroes and trying to help give them the recognition that they deserve. My favorite unsung hero, and he's somewhat known, but he doesn't get the credit he deserves, is Maximilien Robespierre, the orator, the leader of the revolution in France. Very controversial figure. And there's a lot of people in the witchcraft community that are unsung heroes. Even though she's probably more commercial than most, and there's some dealings with that. Laurie Cabot, everybody in the witchcraft community owes her a debt for forming the Witches Anti-Defamation League and for getting witchcraft recognized as an official religion in the United States. It is, this was given to me by a friend's daughter who's in the military. This is a military issue pentacle, so this is what members of the service are allowed to wear. I like it because it doesn't rust. She gave it to me before fire school because the silver one would tarnish in, 3 days being out in the Virginia heat in full gear in the summer. So there's pentacles in Arlington National Cemetery too, and a lot of that has to do with the efforts of Laurie Cabot and her supporters. The article said the Bible, but I'm going to say spirituality. INFJs are very spiritual people, very mystic. Whatever your path is, I'm not telling you which path to follow. I'm just telling you to look into a path and see which one's right for you. And by what's right for you, look into what you want and decide what's right for you, not just what you were born into. Your parents don't get to pick your religion. You get to pick your religion. This is not a theocracy, and they can't drag you in the church kicking and screaming. And even if you are in a certain religion, like, I'll not use Christianity this time. Maybe if you were born, as an Orthodox Jew, maybe Judaism makes sense, but Orthodox is too strict. Maybe you're more fitting for Reform Judaism. That's your choice. Just because you were born into a certain denomination of a certain faith doesn't mean you have to stay in that the rest of your life. That's my message. Being a hand that helps others, huge for me. Again, firefighter, EMT. All I wanted in life was to live in a progressive city, to be a professional firefighter, and to find unconditional love. And last year I had 2 of those and got taken away. And the third one, that's, as I said, that's like finding a blue rose. But I still look. Superstition and the supernatural. We're big into thinking what could be, like the possibilities. Like I've always been into like cryptids, like the Loch Ness Monster. I always found all that interesting. Monster Quest was a great show. They should bring it back, History Channel. And stuff like that. And searching, I love Extinct or Alive by Forrest Galante. And looking for animals that are presumed extinct, like the Tasmanian tiger, but more importantly, my favorite bird, the great auk, because I loved penguins as a kid, and the idea that, that there should be penguin-like birds on the beaches that I could have petted as a kid, and there isn't. So I like to believe somewhere out there that there is a little rock island in the middle of nowhere in the North Atlantic, and on it lives the last colonies of the great auk. Or they may clone them soon from the razorbill, their closest living relative. But if you don't know what the great auk is, look it up. They're cool penguin-type birds, but they're even better swimmers than penguins, but sadly they're probably extinct because they were hunted to death for their feathers. But they're cool. Look them up. There's some good videos about great auks. So that's just some things that can cheer us up when we're down. Things that can get us through rough times. Things that when we can't get our minds off of something, that things like this can help us escape from that mindset, even if only temporarily. Just wanted to put that information out there and hope that it helps. Never sell out your integrity. Always trust your intuition and donate the same you if you haven't.